Whiteboard Wednesday. Today, my name is Thomas Shellowise with Night Train Pickleball, and today we're talking about the serve. So I got a question last week, very basic one on what is the very first thing that as a beginner you would have me practice, and what would that look like? Okay, so as I was thinking through this, you know, I have to refer back to the 5 stages of pickleball, and if you haven't seen that video, go back to this, the very first video that I did. But it's on the 5 stages, and the very first stage is the serve. So if we don't get the serve in, we can't get the game started. And what I see a lot of what happens is players try to overdo the serve. They try to make it too big too soon, and they're very low percentage on it. And the thing we have to understand is really the serve is designed to get the game going. Once you're very consistent with getting the game going, then you're going to be consistent. Then you can start playing around with it and make it more of a weapon if you want to. But making a weapon first before you're consistent, that's getting it backwards. And you need to be consistent. Then you can start using it to your advantage. We'll talk about that a little bit of that later. But there's 3 things that we want to cover today. One is the practice, okay? So say this is my serving team down here. This is my return team here. So I got a return player back and the partner's up here at the line. And so we're gonna practice. This guy's gonna practice serving, okay? So the very first thing I would do is I would set up cones about halfway in this box here, and I would have this player working on just consistently getting the serve to bounce in this area, okay? That's where I want him to bounce past the cones. That's the very first thing I want you to do, is to get it past the halfway point, okay? We know that the serve has a 1 bounce, as one of the 2 bounces that you have to have in the game. It bounces once on the serve, it bounces once on the return, and then again it doesn't have to bounce again unless it's landing in the no volley zone and you can't reach it, right? So we want to first get the ball to go halfway. Once we're starting to get it pretty consistent, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, getting the ball past there consistently, then we start moving the cones back to a third, and now we're serving again, getting a majority of our ball to start bouncing inside that range. Because the goal is to get this ball to bounce consistently as close to this baseline, getting the ball to bounce as close to the baseline as possible. Baseline is in, okay? Inside the baseline is in, but we want to try to get that ball to bounce as close to that baseline and push this return player back as much as we can. So that's the very first thing that I would have you doing. The next thing I would do, again, not speeding it up, not worrying about how fast, you know, using it as a weapon, but as I'm doing this, then the next thing I would do is start splitting this in half. So now we're going after the forehand side and the backhand side. Most right-handed player, so this would be the forehand, this would be the backhand. So now not only are we serving, now we're working on serving the ball to land in this spot and serving the ball to land on this side, okay? So now we're consistently getting it past the line, and now we're consistent getting it in the number 1 side and number 2 side, which is a forehand side for a right-hander and a backhand. So now we're getting in more specific in where we want. So this is more controlled. This is what we're looking for. So this is how I would practice. This is how I would practice. The strategy being, as you're moving this back, you're getting it closer to the line and you're hitting the forehand or the backhand. That would be my strategy, okay? The last thing I would add to this, okay, is as I'm learning to get this ball consistently at the baseline, I'm able to hit the forehand and the backhand. Now I'm going to vary speeds. Now I'm going to have one time where the ball is pretty flat. It's going to be 1 speed. And then I'm going to have another one that's a very arcing ball That is number 2, that is slow. Okay, so I would vary speeds. I'd learn to vary speeds. Those are the things that I would work on initially, but one at a time. Start getting the ball past the cones first, then start working left and right side with the cones through the middle second, and then I would start working on varying speeds a little bit, okay? And that's a bonus. And I'm not saying overhit the ball. I'm not saying kill the ball. I'm just saying speed it up a little bit, hit a high arcing ball a little bit. As you start you're going to start finding some players react better to some than other serves, and then you're going to start figuring out what serve and in what location that is starting to become very effective. So that is how I would be working this right now, okay? And that's where I would have any beginner start, and that's how I would have them progress, okay? So practice, a little bit of strategy, the bonus, start varying speeds, start varying heights and, distance, the ball. All right, so also I'd like to mention that today I get to wear an amazing, this new shirt here by Santa Barbara Pickleball. Just a good friend of mine, and just partnering with them to get their shirts out. I love, their shirts look nice. They're doing a lot of things for National Pickleball League and some other leagues around the country. Go check them out on Instagram, and I think you'll like, if you got a team sport or something that you're doing, that they might be the people for you, okay? So, and it's just a great lady over there that I talk with from time to time, but she puts out some really great shirts. I like them, okay? So anyway, it's a real quick shout out to Santa Barbara Pickleball. This is Whiteboard Wednesday on the serve, and today's video is a little quicker, but we just wanted to get right to it, okay? Again, Thomas Shellwise, Night Train Pickleball. We'll see you in the next Whiteboard Wednesday.